Hello everybody and welcome back to HotCuppaCrypto. My name is Jordan. Today we are going to have a quick market update and deliver to you guys some extremely exciting, crazy and all kinds of news, going on in the market at the moment. So sit back and relax, grab yourselves a tasty beverage, a hot cup of tea, coffee, whatever you desire, and chill out and enjoy this little update with us right here on the channel. So guys, we are first checking out the financial markets. Actually, we are going to take a look here at the dollar. It has been crazy, guys, lately. So check this out. Basically, it just does not stop going up. That is the thing here with the dollar. It has been rising and rising and rising, guys, as you can see here, all the way back since the war, right? The war started in Ukraine. There has been a lot of fundamental triggers in 2021 as well, however. But in 2022, it has been just insane. As you can see here, destroying and obliterating all of the other kinds of financial markets that you could possibly imagine. And we do see today, it is looking strong at 112 right now, the price. It did hit 115, and we did see the stock markets, the crypto markets, and all of those get annihilated, just like a Putin nuclear bomb, basically, coming down and just destroying, taking out all of the financial assets. Literally, guys, if we take a look here, we can see how it affected the whole markets. The reason this dollar currency is affecting the markets, it is the world's reserve currency. So it has a huge and massive impact on the rest of the markets. So this is sort of what happens, especially, of course, the US stock markets, as it is the US currency. And it does, you do see it impacting, the stocks here. So we had, for example, one of the main indexes, the S&P 500, going down and down and down ever since this has been occurring all the way back. Since the start of this year, right? Like we can see here from January, the market has been collapsing. And this has been one of the most popular indexes and stable indexes that people invest in, the S&P 500. Well, most people have lost, all of their investment at this point, or at least 50% of it. Absolutely crazy. We are down, 40%, coming up to 50% here. It is still dumping down. We are having a few green days as of recent days, but it is definitely coming down. So too is the Nasdaq, which is the US tech stocks. Right, so these are the most popular US stock indexes, and we can see the Nasdaq really crashed hard, just like the crypto market. It's like a bomber plane falling out of the sky. It is crazy, guys. This war is causing all of these financial markets to just go up in an absolute raucous, basically, and they are not stable, that is for sure. Sort of nothing in the financial world right now is acting very stable, and we are covering it. As you can see here, also the Dow Jones Industrial Index is part of these stocks as well, right? Now, this is one of the sort of this is based on America's industrial industry, and also all of America's top most long-term valuable companies that actually do sell goods that people use and buy on a regular basis, and have been doing, right, for many years. And that is why this stock market is considered to be backed by real value, tangible companies, goods and things like that people are all still going to need and use in America. However, the price of this, as it is a global investment asset, along with all of the rest of the US indexes, it has been plummeting down ever since as well. So the war has been affecting this. As you can see, we're having these sort of short-term bounces, but it was only last week, guys, that we did hit a new low in the stocks. And then we have a similar story here with the Russell 2000, as you can see, guys, on the daily chart. Once again, this is also heading down. The US 30 Wall Street stock market. So this is the New York-based Wall Street US 30. So this is sort of another index of 30 stocks down again as well. So things are not looking very good right now for investors. If you are an investor, if you believe in long-term strategy investing and keeping your wealth safe, it's sort of like a really volatile time and sort of an uncertain time. We are going to see what happens. We are going to see how this progresses, guys. If you want to keep up with that, of course, follow us here on the channel, HotCuppaCrypto, on TikTok, YouTube, and everywhere. And basically, guys, we're going to delve into also the US bonds. So this is kind of a separate market, but it does have a leading indicator on what happens with everything else. So we're just going to jump into the US 10-year, and just for this video, we're just going to only check this out, although it does apply to sort of all of the bonds, the 2-year, the 5-year, 10-year, 20, and 30-year, right? This is the US debt market, right? So you can see it is also based on the global debt market, because the US dollar it is based on dollars, which is the currency, and that is the world reserve currency. So every country around the world is needing to use dollars. So sort of everyone has US bonds, right? And bonds is based on debt. And as we all know, the US government, it has record debt. The debt is spiraling out of control. In fact, it has already been spiraling out of control for way too long of a time right now, is basically what I'm saying. And, you know, this bond is sort of one of the benchmark, you know, debts or bonds from the government, from the US bond market, right? That everything else is based off. And so if we just analyze this alone, we can see what's going on. And when this is the yield of the bond, okay? So these charts are the yields of the bond. This is how much interest you get for loaning the government, you know, debt for 10 years, which is one of the most popular bonds. And it keeps all of the markets sort of running. Now, usually this is supposed to be stable, but we have seen this going up along with the dollar, and it means that this is crashing all the rest of the markets, because the bonds are seen as the most safest investment, stable and long term. So people just invest in bonds if the interest that they can get from that investment goes up, right? So that is what's happening. However, when the interest goes up, it means that the price of bonds are going down, okay? So the price of bonds are inversely correlated to this, and I do live in the noisiest city in mankind, where you hear loud noisy motorbikes all the time here in the UK, London. But guys, that is the case. So just keep an eye on that for as long as the bond interest continues to rise, because we do know that the US is raising interest rates at the moment. Well, as long as that continues to happen, interest rates continues to go up, then that will continue putting pressure, downwards pressure on all the rest of the financial markets, including the stock markets, and guys, especially crypto. We will get to crypto here in a minute and check that out. So before we do that, we're also going to check out commodities. We do have oil plummeting down once again. We just don't know what's going to happen with oil. You know, Putin is trying to kind of, you know, do his magical spell on oil, and the war is affecting these commodity prices, but essentially it is going back down again today. We do have oil at a price of around $83 per barrel. It went as low as 76 and then pumped back up here up to 92. We will see if it gets all the way back up to its high 129. If that happens, guys, inflation is going to go through the roof and skyrocket for each country. The price of oil determines the price of most other goods. So whatever happens here to this oil price is something very important, key to keep your eye on. If you want to follow that, of course, just follow us here on HotCuppaCrypto, and we will be delivering regular updates to you guys about that, of course, in the future. And then we do have gold, right? So gold usually, typically is a commodity too. So gold, silver, and oil usually follow each other. Like if gold is high, it goes up, then oil usually would follow. And if oil goes, you know, if they go down, then they would both follow each other, because, you know, gold and oil are real things, and the price the correlation between them will never change. The amount of gold that you need to match the value of oil will always be the same, right? Like, so it's the real measurement of commodities and prices of things should be always in gold, right, guys? And that, in fact, is how it has always been in history, right? Things were priced in gold, and they always will be. Gold will, I mean, be the benchmark in which everything else is priced off of. It's an interesting thing to consider. So watching the gold price here and how it reacts to these other prices of oil and everything else, what is going on in the world, the fluctuations of the currencies going up and down and becoming volatile as well, is a key thing to potentially keep your eye on here. Historically, people have seen gold as a stable investment in order to, you know, save your money. However, we did see it going down a lot in recent times because of the dollar pumping and going up, right? So the dollar is inversely correlated to gold. If the dollar is strong, gold is weak, and if gold is strong, the dollar is weak. And then we have silver copying gold here. Silver, as you can see, is the same kind of chart, but it is up and down, much more volatile. So silver is kind of a bit like a leveraged position on gold, but it is also something to consider. Now, we'll just quickly check out the euro as well. The euro is heading its way downwards, as you can see here, very weak. Inflation is out of control in the eurozone. We do have the pound heading down, looking also very weak. We did have the chancellor's announcements causing havoc, and then we had him kicked out and replaced with a new chancellor. Liz Truss is losing her minds. Everybody wants Boris Johnson back. It is chaos in the UK, guys. I'm going to check that out a little bit later on as well, but follow for updates on that. We don't know what's going to happen. I live in the UK, so I want things to go well, guys. But inflation is really awful, and we do have inflation for this month being released tomorrow in the UK, so keep an eye out for that. That will impact the pound sterling, you know, our GBP, our Great British Pound currency, massively tomorrow. So keep an eye on that, and we will deliver to you guys kind of the updates about what happens with that as well, and how that affects the rest of the economy. But the Bank of England were causing the debt market to go out of control, so we'll quickly keep an eye on that and check that out. So here we are looking at the 10-year oh sorry, that is actually the 30. So this is the 10-year government bond for the UK, and as you can see, the problem is it is rising as well. Now it has gone back down past few days ever since we got the new Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt. However, this could stay high for a long time, and if it does start to pump again, then we will have serious debt problems in the UK, because of course this causes the entire country's debt to become more unaffordable, right? Paying high interest on the debt means everyone's costs go up, including people with mortgages. So that is why I always keep an eye on the bond market. It's pretty interesting to see what's happening here, and interesting to learn about as well. So checking out Bitcoin today, we do have Bitcoin looking bouncy. It's always bouncy, guys. It's bouncing around up and down, just like a yo-yo basically. But we do see this kind of coiling up here towards the end of this long 3-month range, where we have been going essentially sideways, guys. And you know, a financial asset can only go sideways for so long, typically and usually, especially something as volatile and as eccentric as Bitcoin, because you know it usually, as everyone knows, is up and down and very volatile, and you know always making moves. So the thing that is going on here is it is only a matter of time that this can go sideways for longer, right? So we do see today Bitcoin at 19,300, and it could go up or down very dramatically anytime soon, guys. We are expecting a huge breakout to come at some point in the crypto market. Follow for updates about that, but we will be keeping an eye on that, and we'll just check out Ethereum as well. Ethereum is looking relatively strong ever since the merge. You know, guys, it did become deflationary, so Ethereum has actually become deflationary now. If you go to ultrasound money, which we will analyze in a future video, you can see confirmation of that. Actually, the Ethereum supply reducing as people start to use the network for a few upcoming token releases coming up here. And it is making Ethereum's supply sort of even more scarce, more deflationary, which was the goal of the merge, one of the goals of it anyway. And then we do have more Ethereum upgrades coming in the future, but nobody knows quite when they will come, because the developers for Ethereum, of course, guys, are always delaying it. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. And then we do have BNB looking pretty good, to be honest, 272. I mean, it's interesting how this has kind of held up even stronger than Ethereum and Bitcoin itself. Definitely something to keep an eye on in the long term. Lots of people believe in BNB, right, over a long time, because it is an extremely interesting asset. I mean, it is owned by the #1 exchange, Binance. It does have an interesting use case. The users of the Binance Smart Chain, and there are actually a lot of users using the Binance Smart Chain, guys, right? We actually check different projects out on the Binance Smart Chain all the time on our YouTube channel, HotCuppaCrypto. So if you guys want to join us over there, then you can, if you want to see what's happening on the Binance Smart Chain and all kinds of new projects coming. But yeah, I mean, this has a use case because it has the Binance Smart Chain behind it, and the exchange, and multiple other use cases. So yeah, pretty interesting to see how BNB is holding up here. And then let's go delving into a couple of the other things that is happening right now in the news. We do have in the UK, once again, we're just going to cover an update from what happened recently. We had the Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, coming in and just absolutely destroying his own Prime Minister, Liz Truss, by disagreeing with everything she has ever done, basically. And she gave him permission to actually kind of take control of the country and actually reverse all of her planned tax cuts. Not only the tax cuts, guys, but nearly everything she set out in the mini budget, causing the pound to recover a little bit and the UK bonds to stabilize a little bit. He did want to cause UK financial stability and kind of save the country from going, completely bankrupt, basically, and having a brutal financial collapse. So he has managed to do that to some extent here with his emergency announcement. As you can see here, everything is about what the government is going to do next, how they're going to react with the fiscal policy and the new financial statements coming out in the future. We will be following it along. Let's hope things go relatively well. Well, we do have the Bank of England as part of this whole drama, sets the further delays for the government bonds until the market calms down. So if you don't know, the Bank of England did come to the rescue, basically like a superhero, and bail out the pension funds in the UK, but they did have to print lots of money to do that, which is called quantitative easing. Essentially, they are solving a debt problem, a debt crisis, by creating more debt, right? By printing more debt out of thin air, more money, in order to buy UK government bonds. Well, they were supposed to start getting rid of the previous government bonds that they bought ever since the 2008 financial crisis. If you didn't know that, guys, they were, delaying that all the way until now, since 2008. And now they have done the same thing they did again in 2008, which is essentially bail the UK economy out with freshly printed money. So who has to pay for this? You guys have to, right? The UK citizens all have to pay for this, because it's coming out. Some people say, like, well, it is not coming from the taxpayers' money. No, it is coming from the pounds, the fresh new pounds that are being printed, right? Out of thin air. What does that do? It devalues all the other pounds in existence. So everyone's money gets eroded from inflation. So that is how the value of your money gets stolen. When the Bank of England prints money, they basically steal or skim money out of your pocket. It is absolutely insane. And this stuff, guys, is legal. Well, it is actually probably illegal, but they're doing it anyway. They don't care, and they had to come with some kind of emergency. And this is one of, this is kind of like their only last sort of tactic to bail everything out. It's pretty insane. So yeah, I mean, they kind of make the problem. They don't solve the problem. They just temporarily delay the problem into the future, where they have to do the same thing again. This is how it all started in 2008. So they never really addressed the problem. They kind of just keep delaying it. So yeah, if they did actually address the problem and cause everything, just let everything collapse, it would be much more brutal. It could cause a huge economic recession. We would see things like banks, pension funds, huge economic, huge financial, I should say, firms and everything going bust. And a lot of people losing a lot of money, but that would kind of reset the whole system and cause a deflationary kind of reset. But that is what we need, but that will probably never come. It is far too painful for the governments and the banks to actually face. So instead, they just keep kicking the can down the road. In other words, delaying the future inevitability of an even larger problem coming up every single time. They don't solve the problem, they delay the problem. So that is absolutely crazy. And that, in a nutshell, is a little bit of an explanation of exactly what quantitative easing is. I can go into this in detail in the future, and I'll definitely be covering that in future videos, guys. So hopefully teach you guys a little bit about that. But yes, just to finish this off here, so it's in the news a lot about they are not, going to be doing that, and they are saying that they are going to consider making a change to these bond sales right after the government's big new change to the tax cuts, the new fiscal stimulus package that is going to be announced in the UK by Liz Truss and the new Chancellor, guys, at the end of October, right? I think it's October the 31st or maybe the 29th or something like that. So I think it's like the 30th or 31st. So 1 or 2 days after, on November the 1st, that is when the Bank of England, right, is going to make this crucial and massive decision whether it is going to continue quantitative easing or try to actually address the problem head on and solve the problem. Let's see if they are brave enough, guys. They probably, my guess is they are not going to do it, right? That is the biggest scam of all time. There is no bigger scam than this, except from the US Federal Reserve doing the same thing with much more debt. So that is the, that is the ultimate scam, if you will. So it is absolutely crazy, but this is the big thing. Are they going to ever address the real problem We will find out on November the 1st. So yeah, basically, okay, jumping into the next news stories here. So the pound, let's check out the pound again. Okay, so how does that all affect the pound? Well, at the moment, we do have the pound stabilizing because of the new chancellor, the Bank of England's temporary measures to try to stabilize this whole thing, but we will see how it affects things in the future. But guys, I just wanted to show you this. We will check out, this is actually gold to the pound, right? So what happens if you hold gold in the UK? So this has been the way throughout history, but you know, during this, I guess during this whole unsettling volatile time during the period with the war and everything else going on, if you had held gold instead of any one of these sort of volatile currencies, well, this is an example of what it would have been like against the pound. It's basically a sideways range going on here, right? We do have a few kind of temporary dips going on down here, but the idea is that gold maintains its value much longer, or much better over the long term, and this is against the pound as well. So this is something to realize. And over time, it may even possibly explode up. That is what will essentially happen if inflation ends up getting worse and continuing, right? So yeah, that's just something to keep an eye on about gold there. Into the news stories now, the kind of breaking news stories. We do have a story about Bitcoin here, and that is that some people are saying, and this goes back to Bitcoin's current price and the technical chart right now, but Bitcoin mirrors the 2020 pre-breakout point basically, but analysts are at odds this time whether it is different. So the point is Bitcoin's price performance weakens after another crack at resistance near 20,000, but exchanges are showing a mounting tug of war going on between bulls and bears. So nobody knows what is happening to the market right now, guys, right? Nobody knows whether Bitcoin is bullish or bearish, and like we did say before, it has been going sideways for so long. I mean, we have had this pump up to 25k and then back down very briefly and temporarily, these kind of small pumps, but it has been refusing, guys, to go below this resistance. I will try to draw the line here for you, but you can basically see it's this, right? So you can adjust the line up a little bit, maybe, if you don't include the wicks, but the idea is it bounced down underneath this here to 17.5k, right? This was the price. If we zoom in here, we can see this was the 17.5k low so far. So, and that was the high of the previous bull market, as we said before. So, you know, it is, and then it has been bouncing back down to this line many times, and the price has been essentially refusing to go back under 18k. So it has been bouncing off 18k. The idea is that it won't go lower than 17.5, or at least it is not doing it easily. It is doing it stubborn, but who knows, guys? We could see the price break anytime, even later today, tomorrow, in a week, or in a month. But guys, it is a battle here, right? A battle of dark and evil, of bulls and bears. And nobody really knows whether this could be the breakout of the new bull market or a absolute humongous crash down where everybody loses their minds, wishes they never bought Bitcoin, and it crashes down. Hopefully, we see sort of the best outcome for the most amount of people here. But guys, this is the thing with investing. You just never know what's going to happen. Not even the best and most longest term investors really truly know what is going to happen next, and that is what makes it so entertaining. That's why we are following along with these crypto markets on a regular basis. If you guys want to see what happens in the conclusion of this great tale, this novel, this story, then subscribe to the channel and follow us along here, guys, as we continue to monitor what happens next with Bitcoin. But you know, it is a fun time. If the market goes up, that is sort of the thing that everyone loves. But the darkness is when it goes down. That's when you really have to put the body armor on and get ready. So we will see what happens in that case in regards to that Bitcoin story. Now, next is a story about Ethereum, the number 2 cryptocurrency at the moment. Ethereum outperforms the Nasdaq by 20% during the 3-month stock market sell-off. So we said before, guys, how the stock market, let's actually go over to the Nasdaq here. Okay, so this is the Nasdaq. We were monitoring this earlier, but so this is the US tech stock market, right? So this is the tech stocks. You've got Amazon, you've got well, you've got all the tech stocks, you know, you got things like Amazon. I think it's you have Tesla in here, but you have, you know, Facebook, Instagram, Meta, like all of that. Sorry, that is all Meta, right? But you've got all the tech stocks, is what I'm saying. Netflix, you know, things like that, Apple, right? And they are all part of this index here. Now, the interesting thing is Ethereum has actually outperformed you know, the US's best performing index, because the tech stocks are best performing because when they go down they crash hard like they're doing now. However, they also bring the most gains, the most profits for investors when they go up, and that is why investors love it. Here in the Nasdaq, you know, they love investing in Tesla, right? How many times have you heard that? Tesla, Apple, Amazon, these are the favorites, Google and everything as well. And if you go all the way back to coronavirus pandemic, we saw this huge crash during the COVID crash of the Nasdaq index up here. It crashed right down, and then the Federal Reserve turned on the money printer and they artificially pumped up this stock market, and it exploded like never before. You can see there was a monumental rise up to all-time highs for the US valuations of this US tech stock market. But then, guys, it was a huge, dark and depressing plummet down, and we are continuing that sort of bearish phase of what happens now. So we will have to see. We will have to see, but the point of all of that is during that whole time, Ethereum actually outperformed the Nasdaq by 20%. Crazy, which is why crypto is even more popular than the best performing US tech stocks in terms of the sort of emotional roller coaster that you go on with the highs and also with the lows. But yeah, I guess it hasn't crashed as much as well as the tech stocks. Really, really crazy. Okay, so we do have another news story coming up, this time about Elrond, a very popular cryptocurrency. I believe this is a sort of layer one. It is its own blockchain in its own right, guys? Elrond. But the price has been looking like it's coming alive a little bit lately. If we do check out the price, if we zoom out a little bit here, this is over on Binance. We can check out, this is the Elrond price chart. The name of the token is Egld, right? EGLD, that is the ticker symbol. And we have seen over the past previous few weeks here that it has kind of rose up, right? And it's been pumping up slowly. And then sort of consolidating over here, potentially making some kind of ascending triangle breakout. Of course, it all depends on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin dumps today, this will go down along with all the rest of the cryptocurrencies. But if Bitcoin remains stable, but especially if it pumps up, then this could have you know, a huge breakout. And guys, we are not talking about Elrond from Lord of the Rings, no. But we are actually talking about Elrond itself, the blockchain. But there is a reason this is happening with Elrond, right? This is the news story I wanted to bring to you. Is despite how amazing and interesting Lord of the Rings is, we do have a brand new project launching on Elrond, which is called AshSwap. Now, I covered this in greater detail on my channel, guys. If you want to go and check out more about AshSwap, you can follow us on HotCuppaCrypto on YouTube. It is the first stable swap DEX on Elrond, right? What is a DEX? It is like a decentralized exchange, so it is a stable swap exchange called AshSwap, launching on Elrond soon, and it is going to have all kinds of, you know, special interest rates, yield that you can earn on your tokens here. You could potentially get rich, but you could also potentially get wrecked. The token itself, which is going to be called Ash, I think, I'm not sure. It does have a potential to become one of the best performing long-term tokens on the Elrond blockchain, a stable swap DeFi protocol, adding orders of efficiency to market liquidity. Keep an eye out for this new project. As you guys can see, the token is called Ash up here. I think they had their pre-sale recently, or it's coming up, I don't know. But the launch of this project has been hotly and eagerly anticipated, guys, and it is something to keep an eye on. For the Egld price itself, as you can see here, people are analyzing Egld for future potential gains. We will have to see what the market has in store for Elrond, which is going to be considering the Egld token and the brand new Ash project as well. Pretty interesting. Okay, so we have Solana Killer apparently with Aptos, a brand new cryptocurrency launching its highly anticipated mainnet. Now, I do believe that went live yesterday. It is a brand new layer one solution cryptocurrency, right? Supposed to be working on transactions, speed, security, and all of those types of things. But the idea here is that it could be potentially a new rival to Solana or Cardano, these types of layer one. Layer one means the fundamental, the fundamental architecture, the baseline, the infrastructure, if you will, of cryptocurrency that all other tokens can be built on top of. Ethereum, it was the first layer one, right? So you know, many tokens were built on Ethereum, and Bitcoin in its own right is essentially a layer one, but Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, BNB, These are layer 1 cryptocurrencies that allow smart contracts and protocols and different DeFi protocols to be built on top of it, decentralized apps, right? So that can be future, messaging apps, banking apps, all kinds of fintech applications that are going to be built on top of. That is why crypto is so promising, and Aptos looks to be a new competitor entering the game, right? Hoping to compete on that. Now, nobody knows, but it has a lot of hype around it. Nobody knows how it is going to perform. This is Aptos' website, committed to developing products and applications on the Aptos blockchain that redefine Web3 entirely, the user experience. So, seems pretty exciting, but of course, guys, be careful with these kinds of new launches. Never get too hyped up. That is one thing you should learn in crypto, and that is one thing I have learned over time, but it's something just to be careful about. All things definitely worth to do research into this just in case, but the idea is that a lot of people are saying this could be a long-term project, so it is here to stay essentially. It's not just going to be something short. It has loads of funding behind it, as you can see here. Lots of news coverage, news stories. We have the crypto's biggest exchanges, FTX, crypto.com, and all of the exchanges covering it. Binance, I believe, is listing this token. It's going to be the apt token. So this could be a long-term, exciting play in the cryptocurrency market going on at the moment. Just be careful not to invest in the wrong token. As you can see here, people bought this wrong token the other day, which is also called APT. So there's a lot of tokens that are named the same and they get the thing wrong, and this token exploded 70%. And this was not Aptos, guys. This was apricot finance. So if you do like, feasting on delicious and juicy apricots, then you could buy this token, but you shouldn't buy this token if you're trying to buy Aptos. Keep that in mind. But Aptos, the so-called Solana killer, has been a most heavily discussed topic in the past couple of days. So it's apparently supposed to handle up to 160 transactions per second. So pretty interesting. Keep an eye out for that, guys. Could be an insane project. Crypto.com. The previous news story that we discussed about some positive news for Crypto.com. Well, now there's some opposite and negative news. You just never know what's going to happen these days out here in the jungle, the forest of the dark cryptocurrency markets. They can also be like the best times where you can find golden treasure, but they could also be a kind of scary dark jungle out here in the markets, and that is when you see news like this breaking out from crypto.com. It is in big trouble, but the warnings were already there. The idea is that I'm going to go over a few red flags. Red flag number 1, dramatic irony at the Super Bowl. They had a big Super Bowl ad, guys. It kind of went wrong. It backfired. Then Crypto.com has been slashing their workers. They have been firing and laying off workers. Not a good sign. And slashing their marketing spending and their Crypto.com token itself, right? They had a kind of reward scheme where they would reward people. So it's kind of like reward points, but you get way more when you spend using the Crypto.com debit card, but they rewarded people in Crow. And they also made their own blockchain based on Crow token, but the value of the token, unfortunately, has been really going down. And as you can see, there's a 1-year performance here where the chart did go parabolic and everyone got super excited about it. But then as the bear market set in, along with all other tokens, it collapsed down and really lost a lot of its value here. So there was another red flag, suspicious connections to other collapsed companies. A lot of people were worrying that the company itself could be exposed. But the conclusion of this is Crypto.com needed people to buy more and more Crow token and then lock it up in order to get the high interest rates and the reward, access to the reward scheme. But things are not looking good for it at the moment. So it is something to keep an eye on. Now we have some wobbly news. Just be careful if you're dealing with any crypto exchange, not just Crypto.com. In the long term, you always want to be keeping up with positive or negative news coming out about any particular crypto company, especially after what we saw with Celsius. A fun piece of news, Bitcoin joins the Guinness Book of World Records, guys. Bitcoin now has multiple entries in the Guinness Book of World Records, including the most valuable and the first decentralized cryptocurrency. So it has won the award for that. And I don't know about you guys, but do you remember reading this book? I used to have this book when I was growing up. I used to get this for my for Christmas. People used to give me this to me, or for my birthday. Back before social media, before there was really anything exciting to always look at on the internet, and this was kind of book you used to flick through and see lots of interesting pictures and crazy facts about the world, and it was a really fun book actually. But Bitcoin has officially entered the Guinness Book of World Records for the number of entries, the first of which is being recognized as the first decentralized cryptocurrency, developed a solution of the challenge of regulating digital currency without any centralized organization. Indeed, Bitcoin does offer decentralized consensus through proof of work, as the Guinness Book of World Records mentions, through the record keeper, though the record keeper does not seem to be learning how Bitcoin works. So each node represents a validator, also called proof of work. The entry continues. However, the depiction of the nodes and miners is not accurate. The node does not validate transactions, but miners are separate entities that help organize the data in the blocks of the blockchain. The full node cannot propose new blocks to the blockchain like miners can. So it is celebrating the first of its kind proof of work with the complicated mining process here. But it is so fun and interesting to see that Bitcoin is actually in the Book of World Records. Just a pretty interesting thing. Now, there are a lot of people who are super excited about XRP, Ripple, and there is massive controversy. It's a little bit like Marmite. You either love it, guys, or you absolutely hate it. Well, in one of these last news stories here, we do have Ripple's 250 million new investment fund backing new Web3 projects based on entertainment and media. These could be the new, kind of crypto or Web3 based social media apps in the future. We could have things like entertainment media apps, things like Netflix and all of these other things that were based on. They're trying to integrate things like NFTs into this. They have huge backings from venture capitalists, all of that kind of stuff, but they have this huge fund, and the idea is Ripple is launching its own side chain. So it's having its own blockchain and they're trying to develop infrastructure on top of it. Obviously, this is separate to Ripple's original blockchain, so don't get confused about that. That is actually an entirely different thing, but this is one of their newer developments. It's pretty interesting here. The wave is focused on entertainment, media, and specifically even music. We want to provide support to indie creators, developers with the technical, financial, co-marketing support necessary to engage with their communities through NFTs. So pretty interesting here. Ripple wants to develop NFTs further and make them more usable for the average person, and they are trying to do it using their XRP Ripple fundamental blockchain. Pretty interesting, and we will see how that develops. And this is the price, by the way. So following on from the last story, this is actually part of that story, guys. We have seen the price of Ripple bounce and start to get very excited on that news. Previous news about the lawsuit currently going on, which is a super important lawsuit against the Security and Exchange Commission in cryptocurrency. So we will be seeing how that develops going forwards. Let me know, guys, do you love XRP or do you absolutely hate XRP? Do you like the technology or do you think it's absolute garbage? Let me know in the comment section below. We have loads of different opinions about this. We have XRP. I guarantee this video will have loads of comments of people arguing about XRP. It will be interesting to see down below. Let's see what sort of debate this sparks up. Let me know your guys' thoughts about it. Of course, feel free to reach out to me anytime you guys have any questions. Let me know your questions. If you love these market updates and if you enjoy, then subscribe to the channel HotCuppaCrypto. Let me know what beverage you guys are drinking, and follow us on YouTube, guys, for more news and updates. We will update you soon about all of the future in regards to everything that we discussed today. But guys, thank you so much for joining us once again. My name has been Jordan, and we will see you all in the next videos on HotCuppaCrypto.